This is such a big thing, right?
Thank you.
Come on, Jim. Good morning, Colin.
Morning.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Fantastic. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for-
I wanted to be kind of businesslike.
Can I see the other girl?
Hello and welcome to Qatar's first sports podcast, In the Game. I'm your host, Steve Mackey, and we can't wait to introduce you to everything that is sports here in Qatar and afar. We're going to be bringing you personalities, company owners, institutions, individuals that are making a real difference. So, with us, enjoy the journey.
It's fun, man. Sports is fun.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app.
Hello and welcome to In the Game, Qatar's first sports podcast. Again, some of you will know our special guest today, and we have Paul on. Paul, Happy New Year, my good friend.
Steve, Happy New Year to you and everyone else listening.
Yeah, dear me. And where are you right now?
Steve, I'm in cold, wet. I'm looking out the window now. Cold, wet, muddy UK. It actually feels quite good having been in Qatar for a whole year in the heat. So this actually feels quite nice.
And tell me, just so that I've got some, just tell me the area that you're in.
So we are in southeast England, it's on the outskirts of London. It's a place called Beckenham. So it's actually,
yes.
it's actually right. It is London, but you know, London is growing and growing. So literally I could drive into central London in, let's say, 30, 40 minutes.
You're not far from Dartford or
precisely. So literally Dartford, driving, I could hop in the car now, I'll be there in 20 minutes. So I could get on the channel. If it wasn't for Brexit, I could get on the channel. Brexit and COVID. I could get on the channel straight through it and be out in France in less than an hour.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah.
How was your Christmas? How was it?
Christmas was good. It was nice it was so nice being back home with the family. But again, I know Qatar, you guys have got the freedom to still roam around. But as soon as we landed, Boris decided to put the area, that mainland London area, into tier 4, which means there was technically no Christmas. You couldn't mix families, you couldn't mix different social bubbles. So Christmas has been unique and different this year.
It's been a tough year, but we seem to have got through it, and it's friends like you that it's helped me through. Let me tell you.
Thanks, Steve.
And just for everybody to know, do you want to give you? I know that you've been on the show before. I find your story absolutely fascinating. You've battled against some odds, and you've come through and achieved some wonderful things. Do you want to give an outline of what you've done and where you've been?
Oh man, Steve, that's going to take the whole show, right? No joke. No, just literally, yeah. So Paul, an old man, did a stint in football, then went sprinting in between that, was doing some studying on the side, went through, obtained my doctorate, then worked on some fantastic projects, and at the same time coached some amazing athletes along the way from different sports: rugby, football, athletics, tennis. So that's me in a nutshell.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on, honestly. And we're going to do more and more shows together, which is really going to be good. But today, I wanted to talk to you today because I wanted some therapy myself. Okay, and it's the new year, and everybody is there trying to think about this new year resolution, and then we get a little bit demoralized to think to ourselves, what's the point? We got the COVID, we got this going on around us. What are the factors that are preventing people from doing any physical activity or doing exercise?
It's hard, Steve. That is the biggest. It was interesting everywhere you search, like right now online. New Year's resolution, I promise you, the number one for everyone. Okay, now this year, I think probably number one for everyone is going to be God, keep everyone safe, keep everyone away, keep COVID away from everyone. But aside from that, let's say if we were normal terms, no nothing there, number one New Year's resolution is always health, fitness. This year, I'm going to get myself fit. I'm going to get ripped. I'm going to lose weight. But it dies off very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Most people have that great intention, genuine, heartfelt, and then it just dives off. And so I've just basically decided just to dive a bit into what are the main issues that stops people from actually doing it, initially starting or continuing to do it.
And the thing with it is, it's not that I went through, when the COVID started, I went through a big change where I changed myself from a fitness perspective. I was walking 10 kilometers a day. I was swimming. I was running, which I'd never done before. I was doing yoga. And then all of a sudden, things are getting more busier now. And I'm not finding those times to get back out there to do it. And then because you're not doing that, you're kind of you're battling against yourself, and it's just one of those things. What do you do next? How do I get myself started and motivated again?
But Steve, what's it called? You hit the nail right on the head, because I think one thing that's been amazing to observe when COVID kicks in, because the only thing literally anyone was allowed out of the house for, like even now in the UK, even though we're tier 3, you're not meant to go to shops, it's shut, apart from supermarkets, restaurants, everything shut. When you go to the parks or to the forest, it is even. It is even, because it's the only thing people are allowed to do. You're allowed to pop out for exercise. So it fits in very, very well with your situation. What I was thinking, Steve, is if we look at some of these kind of barriers, and then potentially next week or something like that, we basically talk about how you can really, get around these, or what kind of stuff you could put in place to deal with it. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's perfect. That would be fantastic.
So, okay, well, so generally speaking, I think it boils down to two main factors. And I mean, there is the environmental barriers, and then there is the actual personal barriers. So the environmental barriers actually is an interesting, because these limit a lot of people, because it's based on where you live, and it deals with things like, what's it called, recreational facilities, the community, and the kind of community you have around you, the spirit of it. So the facilities, it could be like, oh, you have to pay too much money to use this facility. Oh, I have to drive 2 hours to get down the road, or we don't have access to a swimming pool, we don't have access to a nice park. And that's all dependent on the area you live in. Yeah. So then you have things like the community spirit, which deals with, are people around you very active? Are they not active? Because I found that very common actually when we were at university, where Loughborough, everybody does sport. So even the people that came in that were not sports minded ends up doing sport. It's that kind of environmental effect where if everyone is doing it in Rome, as the Romans do, you do as they do when you're in Rome. So everyone does it. Then you've got things like social environments, which again taps a bit more into your community force, but it's just your social environment. Are the people in this social hub, do they do sports? Do these people like to go for walks? Or because the more you see people doing stuff, the more you think, oh, actually, let me have a go at it. It's a bit like what we're all doing with COVID. Like, let's all go for a walk. Actually, let's get on the bikes. Let's cycle. Then you've got gender split. Too many men in the street. Female, I don't want to go out. Too many women. Oh, no, I'm not going to go and run. So it depends on the gender influence. So you've got all of those kind of things that's out of your control. Then you've got age population, which deals with, are there young people, old people, middle age? Because all of that skews your image. And then the types of parks next to you, forests next to you. What is the traffic like outside? Is it busy when I come out to my door? Can I cycle a bike? Is there any bike lanes in the UK? Am I going to get run over? Then you've got crime level. Am I safe to go out of my house? That's one of the issues. Is it safe for me to go out? Then again, we spoke a little bit about the transportation. If you live in a deprived area, most likely you won't have a car, and the transportation system won't be as kind of detailed, or there won't be that many things. So you got transportation links, and then you just generally then you got the other parts, family and friends. What are they like? Do they like to just vegetate in front of the TV? Do they just like to sit and eat, or are they all active? So those are like the environmental barriers. Those are some of the topics that come up in environmental barriers.
Whoa. That's,
yeah.
I've got several of those. We haven't, you're in the UK at the moment, but we haven't got that. I shouldn't have any excuses on some of these things in Qatar, because it's a wonderful place. And I've literally 5 minutes up the road, I'm in the Spire Park. So I shouldn't have any I shouldn't have any of those excuses. But it's funny you should say that. But from the gender split, which was really, really strange. There was a time that I used to have individual lessons from a yoga perspective.
Right.
And then they went into groups, and then there was females in that group. And I couldn't, it's like, I just couldn't do it anymore. Why? It was like,
it's crazy, right? It's crazy. So what, Steve? So the gender split has an influence on you. What else, Steve? What would you say?
I think the age thing, it's like, I see the age pollution. I don't know what that really means, but it's like, I'm getting to an age now and I'm thinking, I'm feeling, sometimes I get down and I'm thinking I've moved recently. So I've not got the same walking pattern anymore.
Okay.
And it's like, it's just, and there's more roads and traffic and I'm
okay.
So I'm using all these excuses.
You will, Steve. It's not excuses though. You're not the only one, because everyone else, because this is like literally they've done a lot of research, they've done a lot of investigations, and these are the barriers that keep on coming up. And this is all housed under environmental effects, because then there is this personal aspect of it as well. So you've got the environmental barriers, then you've got the personal type of barriers, and that takes you into another type of kind of stream, because we tend to, with the personal stuff, is sometimes actually it may be perceived and sometimes it may be real.
Yeah.
So what we may perceive to be happening actually it's not real, or what may be real actually it's not what we're perceiving. So it's that cycle of effects, right? So the personal side, the three top ones that comes up all the time, no matter what you do, time.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. I've got so much stuff on. I've got to go to work. I've got the kids to get ready. I need to come here. I need to meet my friends. I need to do this. I don't have enough time to train. So again, hey, who are we to turn around and say that that's not, but it's valid or not valid? But that's one of the aspects. Then you've got energy levels. So because we're living such a busy lifestyle, our energy levels are constantly depleted.
Yeah.
So literally at the end of the day, it's even in the morning you had a late night because you're busy doing something else. You can't wake up in the morning, or you wake up in the morning, you've got all of the activities to do. Come the evening, you're like, oh, sugar, I am totally tired. So you don't do anything. Yeah. And then there is the motivational side. Okay, it's too hot. Like take Qatar, for instance, like my wife was, and most of the crazy runners, they were going out at 3 a.m. during the summer months. It's because it's their time. Yeah. And in the UK, we are here and no, it is freezing. It is freezing. Like I've never felt, I don't know whether it's because I've been in Qatar for a year. It is freezing. And my wife and I have been going out for runs and she's been pushing me quite hard. We go out and I'm like, this is too cold. But if I'm not motivated enough, I'll run straight back inside, or I'll take one good look outside. Like now I'm looking outside, it's incredibly cloudy, it's starting to get dark, and I'm just like, actually I don't fancy it. But the motivational side, being motivated enough to actually go out there. So yeah, so those are the three key ones, but then there are subheadings that it breaks down into, the studies have found. How does that fit in with you then, those three ones, Steve? Time, energy, and motivation.
I feel I'm feeling it because I've been on here saying I'm so positive. I think that the one thing with me is, and I'll be honest, and I'm not making I am making excuses. One is time. That's one of those things that I use all the time. Energy. It's funny with the energy. It's not so much with the energy. It's the kind of, I'm getting old and my body aches. I went out with my friend Stefan, very close friend, and he took me on he was power walking, and he gets up at 4 o'clock every morning, and he was really power walking. Wow! Literally, I had to run to try and keep up with him, and we done 9K, and for the next 3 days, I was struggling just to move, you know, and so and I kind of that's. I don't look forward to that. There's some times where I've got to take painkillers just to kind of just to help with the pain. So that's something.
Steve, I'm going to pick up on this next week because I don't want to give any kind of advice on how you overcome these barriers, because that will be for next week's show.
Perfect.
But we will touch down on this, Steve, because there are systems in place, or there are some kind of things that you should expect in place that will help you to overcome this. But it's funny though, Steve, because actually when you dive more into the actual kind of reasons that people give, there's another 12 or so reasons. I'm going to wheel some of these off for you. So some of the ones is insufficient time to exercise, which we've touched on. Then inconvenience of exercise. Actually, no, this is inconvenience. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not doing this. Then it's lack of self-motivation. Again, this links into the three main points, all of them. Then you don't actually enjoy the exercises you're doing because people don't understand what they should be doing. Should I be walking? Should I be doing CV? Should I be doing weights? Should I be doing Pilates? Should I stretch? Should I not stretch? So when you don't create a good enough program, you start to actually be like, actually, I'm not enjoying these. Actually, forget it. I'm gone. Then you've got things like you're bored with the exercises, which is again linked into the type of exercises that you're doing. And then your confidence in your own physical ability and literally low self-esteem and how others see you. If I'm running, am I running properly, or am I walking properly, or am I lifting that weight properly? Oh, hold on a minute. That guy over there, that woman over there, then has been in the gym for a while, knows what they're doing. I don't. So your self-esteem just goes plummeting down. Or you run and you see professional runners and you're like, oh, hold on a minute. What do they think of me? Oh, I'm overweight. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. So it's those self-esteem things that literally kills a lot of people. And then some people, like what you said straight away, Steve, I know yours is not linked to being scared of getting injured, but that's one of the ones. People are scared of getting injured, or based on a past injury, they don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
It's a bit like what you said, is actually aches and pains every day when I wake up. I don't want to do this. Why should I have that feeling when I could just be a normal person? But again, we'll get over this next week. And then there's that part which I spoke about the last time when you said to me, what's your motto? Is it staying in the game long enough to see the result? So is that whole thing again, progress, your reward? What are you getting out of it? Can you see the tangible results? That's one of the reasons. And then when we're not getting encouraged by people around us or our environment, or people are not supporting us, going, well done, Steve, that is amazing. Or, well, keep on going, Steve. Wow, you did this amount, you did this distance. Well, okay, wow, you walked for that long. Oh, you power walked with your friend. Again, it comes back to that thing of encouragement or lack of it. And then again, then it comes down to, oh, I don't live next to a nice park. I live next to a road. When I run, all I'm doing is breathing in smoke. So I can't afford to go and do this. And then just basically the general environment, we make excuses that we don't live in a nice area. So these are all factors and barriers all the time that keep on cropping up. And really, really in-depth studies have actually looked at these and found them out.
Yes. I can't wait. As soon as I finish with this podcast with you, I'm going to go for a walking run, and I'm going to get my music in, and I'm going to get that music playing, and I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other. I've got a spinning bike also. I call her Zara Zumba, and she is amazing. I tell you, Zara is just amazing. And she started this Zumba class off, and now she's got this empire. And she brought me a spinning bike. It's like I told her once that I don't like spinning, so she brought me a spinning bike around. A very good spinning bike.
Wow.
So I should be I've got to start on that. I've got to do some stuff on that.
So is this the Zara Zumba that she does a lot of compounds in Qatar, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, yeah, she surfaced on our compound. Yeah, she has surfaced on our compound.
She's brilliant. I'll tell you honestly, she's brilliant. But I've got to take these excuses away. I've just got to get started. If I can just go out there and get started, then I'm
barriers.
Fine. Yeah.
Steve. The first time. So Steve, actually, you're gonna be literally the working proof of this stuff that we're about to do. Actually, Steve. So we're starting you off today. You're outlining your barriers. Next week, we'll look at some of this stuff regarding how we get around these barriers, and then we'll put some other strategies in place, Steve, and see if we could sustain a whole year kind of worth of physical activity.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to start. I literally am. I'm not going to sit back. I've had that. Yes. I went so far, and I've just for all those horrible excuses. There's some of those that I can just relate to, and it's wrong. I shouldn't be. I know myself. I know what I've gone through. I should be getting on with it.
But yeah, it's Steve, it's so tough because it's crazy that is everyone's number one New Year's resolution every year when it tips over. It's about, I'm gonna make sure I get myself in good physical condition, be in good health. But literally a month later, 2 months later, max, most people are literally diving. I mean, there are people that go on to actually succeed in their target, and then you gain the buzz. But again, that all falls into seeing some results or staying in that game a bit long enough to actually see the fruits of your labor. So I think when we go into it a bit more next week, we'll start to realize that. But again, hey, we were talking a bit about mental aspects of things. There's an element of it which is perceived and which is again real.
It's all and you know, look, as we said, work in progress, and that's what we've got to always do, and don't beat ourselves up over it. But
exactly.
I just found excuses. I've just found excuses. I'm too busy. Oh my word, my work schedule.
We are all the same, Steve. We are all the same.
It's just not. And again, so let's see over these next coming weeks, coming months. Let's see how we can put things right and help others to put things right as well, Paul. Which will be better. Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll dive a bit more into that in the next coming weeks.
I hope everybody's enjoyed it as much as I have, and don't feel too bad about it. Just do something about it. Just get your shoes on and get out there.
Steve, you discussed this earlier on. You were talking about the fact that we should try to find something online, right?
Yes.
Regardless.
Yes.
I've got something that's going to blow your mind away, Steve.
Oh, please. This is everybody's going to see some changes within the game. Paul's in the UK. He'll be back with us very soon. And we're just going to have some fun. We're going to look into things. We're going to explore. We're going to delve into these different types of sports. And yeah.
Shall I give you the what's in the news, Steve?
Oh, go on.
All right, Steve, do you remember we spoke about, I think it was me, you, Karen, and what's his name? Islam. We spoke about this, and Steve, you were dead against esports. You didn't see the benefit of esports at all. Sorry, no. Esporters.
No, I've been working with Qatar Sports Tech, and there's an esports company in there, a team where they're backing esports up, backing them and kind of going through the kind of psychological issues that you can sometimes face, how to keep yourself at the fitness levels, how to get the best equipment.
Oh,
it was I'll introduce you. They really are. They're pretty special. So
Steve, okay, so it means you have this knowledge that I'm about to share with you, Steve. You have this news knowledge, because I was going to challenge you, Steve, because we've all got this stereotypes about gamers are normally kind of couch potatoes, sedentary life. They sit in front of the computers and play away. Right, check this out. So a study, Steve, right, conducted by Queensland University Technology, which was published in November the 30th in the International Journal for Environmental Research and Public Health. Guess what they found out, Steve?
Go on.
Right, so they basically surveyed 1,400 participants across 65 countries, all esport gamers, right? And what they found was 21% were healthier than the general population.
No.
21% of gamers were more healthier than the general population. There are some caveats to this, by the way, and hardly smoked, and they drank less. Check that out, Steve. You didn't see that coming.
No.
Right. And it's more surprising, actually, when you look at the global kind of obesity levels. But Steve, the thing that basically popped out a bit as well is basically, normally when you think of esports, you do think about this sedentary behavior where people are just seated in front of the computer screens, getting eaten and playing games, and then also their general poor health. But what they found out, actually, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. Actually, just like any top sports person or top person in whatever event they do. So what they did is top 10% of the players were significantly more active than the lower level players. So the top level players were the ones who actually took their fitness level very seriously. So that's what the research found. And then the lower level actually was not so great. You will see in a minute. So basically the top level players see that the fitter that they are, the better the results. It's exactly like what you just discussed, that they're guys from the esport company and how they're looking at the fitness levels. So only the top level players met the physical activity guidelines, where basically based on WHO's World Organization kind of recommendations of 150 minutes per week. These guys were doing, what's it called? For 4 days, and in each day they were doing an hour and a half worth of exercise. And what they, it's crazy. And what they typically found was that the more active they are and the more physically strong they were, the better they became. But this is where their study it falls down a little bit. The lower level players actually were 4% of which is roughly about 4% of esport players. Most of them were morbidly obese. They were heavily obese. So the lower ranks still don't actually get the whole kind of thing, like, actually, I need to be in top physical condition in order to perform. So there are still issues with the whole esports, which fits back into your dislike a little bit of people just sitting there playing computer games. But it's interesting, right?
It is interesting, and I kind of, the more and more I go into this sports tech and especially esports, I've got an open mind. I've told this story before. When I was only 15, 16, I know that Big Razors wanted me to race their windsurfing boards because they had a brand of windsurfers, semi-sinkers, and they wanted me to race it around the country. And I remember, and they would have paid me they would have paid me for doing it. And I remember telling my mum, and my mum says, "Yeah, you don't make a living like that, Stephen. Forget it. Just forget it." And that's generation. So then my son would come. My son, I've never seen somebody is so fast on the keyboard, and the way that their mind thinks and dual purpose, like their hands work simultaneously. And he was saying, "Dad, I'm going to be big." Now he works for Sky, but he loves the gaming side of it, and he said, "I could make money at this, Dad." And I remember saying to him, "Don't be stupid. Come on." And it's like it, but it's only just now that who cares what they do for a living? If they love what they do, if they are keeping themselves fit, if they are
Precisely.
if it's a mindset, then it's all good. And if it's helping them in their lives and it's helping them, go do it. And it's like, but I just couldn't. Maybe it's because I sit there with a game with one of those controllers, and oh my God, I can't do it. So it's in 2 minutes. It's like they've beaten me, and it's embarrassing. But I don't even play FIFA anymore because I know that it's just going to be atrocious.
It's going to be atrocious. That's the same as me.
I don't know which buttons to press. I'm not sure which kind of got to do things. Oh my word. But to say that, I'm going to introduce you to a guy called Aboud. And one thing that I love with Aboud, he's one of these sports commentators, and he's an actor too, here in Qatar, quite famous for it. And they had a FIFA, they had a football tournament with Qatar Football Association. And what made it for me was he done the commentating on the gamers. And oh my word, I loved it. I really loved it. And I couldn't believe that I was I was watching this game of football, but it was actually a simulation game. It was but he was giving it some atmosphere, and it's like, that's what we want, right? It's just the fun, the excitement levels.
Did you say, is he the one that did the announcer for Ronaldo's? You've interviewed him before, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. With the curly hair.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Because he knows Dr. Mafood, doesn't he? Because he was at Qatar University. I remember his. What's the name? His podcast that you did.
Dr. Mafood, which has been one of my greatest. He's given me he introduced me to you too.
Yes.
So yeah, so he was, and what Abu came up with, which I thought was brilliant on the show, was that he wasn't always the size that he is. He was a really overweight kid.
I remember that. Yes.
And he said, I don't want to give any advice to the kids. I want to give the advice to the parents. This is what you've got to do. This is how you've got to encourage. This is how you've got to kind of get them involved in something that they're going to participate and want to participate with other kids. And he came back with some brilliant stuff. I really enjoyed him. Really enjoyed him on the show. But he done the commentary on the football. I tell you honestly, I was sold. And I am coming around because it's fate. It's a startup. They're in Qatar Sports Tech, and they're doing really well. And they're doing it on. They're doing well through results, which is even better. And what they're doing is they're bringing these teams together, and they're looking at all those aspects with making sure that they can perform.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to speak to those guys.
Yeah, without a shadow of doubt, we'll bring them back on. I've already interviewed Mohammed from Fate. I really did enjoy it. It's like with all these, you think to yourself, how much longevity have they got? And it's like, what does it matter if they can make a difference? You know, and that's the one thing that we keep on saying. As long as it can make a difference, it's like. But in saying that, I'll tell you about something that I came across. There was 10 great sports tech people, sports tech cohorts. There was too many to mention, but the one that I liked, I'll tell you a story. So I interviewed him, and he was going to be interviewed in his car in Poland. His name is Tillman, and I love his concept and I love his idea, because what he was, he looked up to me in the car and he said, "Oh, it's very cold here," and his wife was in the car with him. And I said, okay, so we'll start the interview now. So he looks over to his wife and he said, okay, you've got to get out. I could hear her say, oh, but it's really cold. He said, oh, just let me do this interview. And so he was telling me this, and I'll tell you more about the interview afterwards. But then he told me in the story that he does 3 hours of meditating on a daily basis.
Okay, wow.
Okay, and he says he doesn't wear shoes. And I said, and this is it's freezing outside, right? And I said, at the end of the interview, I said, are you kidding me? Are you really wearing no shoes? Are you really wearing no shoes? And he said, no, look. And he took the camera down.
Panned it down.
And there he is in Poland, getting out the car with bare feet. And it was just incredible.
I know how cold it is outside here. I could just imagine Poland.
Oh my word. But the guy him and his team were just fantastic. I love them. And what they've done is that, you know, you've got this and I'm probably Strada. Is it Strada or recording all your data and everything else, Yeah, where you've got the bikes, you've got your not the push bike, your racing bike.
Racing bikes, yes.
What he was doing was, you've got those in this, I think it's Strata, one of the two. He was telling me how they've raised 400 million to get that up and running, and where people can have it in their front room.
Right. So those guys are based in Qatar then?
They came here for the Qatar Sports Tech, which is my word. I thought they were incredible. But all the groups were incredible. I don't want to, because I know after the interviews, I got to know them all, and I've got one of them living with us now in the villa. But it's fantastic. But what it was so these guys got 400 million, and they were nowhere near that. But what they're doing is that they're going to they've gone to the top 5 manufacturers, like gym manufacturers, like. What is it?
You've got Techno, you've got all of
Techno
these,
Gym with the keys in that. So what they've done is they've gone to the top 5 and they said, we are going to bring you fantasy into fitness. And what we'll do is we'll be able to put screens on the bike, and they're doing it with the bike. So what they'll do is they'll gamify it. It's a bit like Strata, and they'll gamify it. And but they're going to have with going to these people, they're going to have 500 million people.
Okay, so the reach is just very quick. They've reached such a big massive.
Unbelievable.
So it's a bit like what Peloton are doing with their bikes, and now they're trying to do with their treadmill. So they are doing it, but they're going to, instead of creating their own brand, they're going to establish manufacturers and importing it into their systems.
Exactly that. Exactly
okay.
that. And it's just with it, what they're saying, it's just brilliant. And again, you're going to be able to have competitions with individuals, with gyms, with countries, with regions, wherever. It's going to be global. It's going to be.
And hey, this may be the barrier breaker, right, for helping people to actually get healthy and fit. Because some people basically just work off competition against close mates, against family, or people they know, or people in other countries. So you never know.
Give me a ball and I'll chase it. Give me a run. I'm going to be running in the opposite direction. Always when I was playing hockey or I was playing rugby or football, you had a ball to run after. So the mind. But so that's my thing with the sports tech. But I am warming to the esports, but I still find it a little bit difficult that it's gonna, maybe it'll get into the Olympics. I got no problems with it. I just think to myself, is that a potential?
No, I'm with you. I think I'm with you on that front. But I respect the guys. It's a bit like Top initially when they said snooker was a sport or darts is a sport, and you look at the guys doing it, and you're like, thinking and playing darts. But I know it's changed. Like you see snooker players, Ronnie O'Sullivan puts in a very good marathon, and some of the darts is still a bit behind, but the younger generation are a bit more in condition. So it's a bit the same. I think when esports pops in, clearly, as you see with these figures, that the guys at the top are in very good nick. They are taking it very seriously because it keeps their concentration levels high. It ensures that their stress levels are a lot lower, because they are put under a lot of stress in that little, you sit there and you're literally zoned in. But
Paul, you're a PhD, right? And you know sports like the back of your hand. And one of the things that I would say that you've said is that it's all a mental game. And if you're not mentally strong, and what does that take out of you? You know, when I've done meetings and I'm going to meetings and I've done presentations, you feel an absolutely different draining, right? It's just a different, but it's the same. It's that mental stress or mental endurance that you've got to go through. And I do. And I don't want people to come back to us and say, oh, you haven't got a clue with esports. Hey, I'm with you. I know that what you've got to have to go through. I understand. It's
very new. It's very new though, Steve, isn't none of us really, I think even the guys playing it don't understand it. Parents don't understand it. It could be the next kind of investment banking routes that you go, or it could be the next trade, and you never know. It's just one of those things that you don't understand until we're in it and we're living it, and we'll see how it pans out.
And you know what? I got one thing that I'm going to talk to you about, and you'll see it when you come back. It's
excellent.
Esports circus.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And he goes around to schools, and he brings esports and the use of esports into the classroom. It's very, very impressive. I'm going to kind of, and I'm going to we're going to get him on the show too.
Cool.
One of these weeks.
Yeah, I would like to know more about that one.
Yeah. So you've brought up some good subjects there, Paul. We're going to have some.
Yeah, so we'll pick up, and next week we'll dive a bit more into it and try to dissect it and how you get around some of these barriers.
Paul, thank you very much for this Saturday evening with me.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Please keep safe in the UK. Can't wait to see you back in Qatar. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the show. And please, gamers, I'm with you, okay? Any way I can help you at all, I'm with you, okay? It was my age, my generation. Go do whatever you want to do. Go and break those records. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. Paul, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Cheers then. Bye for now.
Take care.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. And don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please send us your feedback on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. And don't forget to review us on your favorite podcast app.